Today I will talk about one rune stone. It is called Jera. In this rune stone follows the rune stone which I discussed the previous time, Kenaz. Kenaz is nothing but where you go looking for what you want or working for what you want. And Jera is a rune stone which completes the cycle of what you're looking for by giving or telling you that you have got what you were looking for, or it is the reward for your effort. And maybe in olden days, or even people who do farming now, the harvest, your crop is started to yield and give you returns. So Jera completes the cycle of what you were looking for or working for, and you getting a end result or getting the result you were seeking. So it's a very easy rune stone to understand. And if you were to ask yourself, if I get what I want, then what does it do to me emotionally and mentally? It makes you happy. So there are a lot of rune stones you can understand which denote happiness, and Jira is one of them. It makes you immensely happy that I worked for something and I got the result. I worked for this exam and I cleared it. So whenever you get a Jira, it's just saying that you will be able to achieve the outcome you're looking for. It's a very easy rune stone to understand. Now, I want to take an example of how lot of countries, especially third world countries, African countries, which continue to stay poor despite all the money urbanization that is happening. What is the problem? So they are working towards creating employment, collecting taxes and doing so much for their people. I take an example of India. So the Indian government is doing so much for its people, bringing in urbanization, building roads, highways, and so many airports. There's a burst of airports that are coming up in so many cities, which is all geared up at making the economy fast paced and giving people jobs and employment, because when we study, then we are looking for job and employment, and then you know the administrator or the government is doing this bit of economic development so that everybody gets a job and so on. So they complete the cycle of what you are looking for by giving you then what you have worked for, and therefore the reward is in place, employment is in the place. So far so good. Now I will discuss what happens when this rune stone is in the reverse and what does it mean. So when the rune stone is in the reverse, it means that people are working for something and they don't get anything in return, or they are working for something, they get a reward, but it still does not remove or eradicate their bad situation continues despite working for something and getting a certain reward or a job or employment, and still you are poor. The money is not working. When does this happen? When does Jira, the runestone, actually tell you that there is poverty, there is a setback, or just bad timing and things like those. I explain to you now with an example. In India, everybody with massive urbanization and job creation, people have found jobs and employment and are doing very well for themselves. But the cost of living is continuing to go up to the point that despite earning the nicest of salaries or doing best of businesses, people are not able to save or create wealth for themselves or have a good life. And the reason for that is the Indian government is collecting taxes from every citizen, GST, and other salary taxes, business taxes, profit taxes as well, but they're also collecting GST. They're collecting tax from every other source which is possible, and then they're flying a rocket to the moon, which cost nothing less than 50,000 crores. As a poor country, third world country, where 60% of the population is below poverty line, um, Indian government cannot afford to do that. But they are doing it. They are pushing the Indian economy to the status of fourth world country by doing expenses like this. So, despite people working for something and getting it, their lifestyle and life status is not changing. They continue to be poor. They continue to be struggling for good food, for fresher breath air, for an easy life. With so much money, you can look after the old age people, you can give pensions to people, but that's not what government is doing. It's doing unnecessary expenses. It's trying to catch up with the rich nations by trying to show we are at par with you. How can a third world country spend something on rockets and something what $1 trillion economy is spending, like US, China, Russia? So when Jera is in the reverse, it's saying your status is in poverty despite working and getting what you want. This is a very sad state of affairs, that whole day people keep working. Let's say I keep working whole day, morning to evening, and I get paid some amount, but I'm neither able to pay rents, neither able to purchase fruits which have become super expensive, nor able to go or travel anywhere. What is the point of working and making money? So while it sounds very right that whatever you're working for, Jira, when straight up, means getting the reward or getting the outcome. But the reverse says that despite getting the outcome, you are still poor. It doesn't change your status. And it has all to do with bad administration policies. Very bad decisions to keep spending. See, another country. See, India has a lot of expenses, but Indian government has decided to waste money like this on futuristic ambitions and nonsense like Chandrayaan. It's not needed. India doesn't need a Chandrayaan or a moon rocket flying in the space. We can't afford it. We are such a poor country. But Indian government is working with the inferiority complex, where they're trying to match up with the richest of nations and tell them we are at par. We are not at power. We're not at par with the rich nations. Somebody needs to tell this to the Indian government. because Jira is in the reversed. Today, the Indian society is 60% below poverty line. By flying rockets and doing nonsense like this, you are pushing additional 10% below poverty line. And then we will become a fourth world country. From a third world country, our status will get downgraded to a fourth world country. India is not the only one. Another example I will tell you is Pakistan. It first asked for a 3 billion bailout or a loan from IMF, that they don't have money to run the country and they be given a loan. Then they went to China. Pakistan has gone to China asking for a loan, that we don't have money, give us the loan. And now, the third time over, Pakistan again goes back to IMF and says, give us so much loan. And it's not a small loan, it's all in billions of dollars. Ask Pakistan, where is your money gone? People were working, you had all the taxes getting paid. You were at some point, you had the money. Where is the money gone? It spent all its money on terrorism, in fighting wars, and so on. And even today, if they get the loan, they're not going to bring any policy change of completely stopping terrorism or arming people up to fight up, against India or other some border conflicts with some other country. So some governments just don't learn. They're up to make the people's life difficult. So when Jira is in the reverse, it's just saying that despite working, you're not making any money, or your efforts will not pay off. And it is poverty. So this was a very simple rune and to understand. And I take very live examples, especially of how I'm seeing things are bad all around. And I discuss those with the rune stones.